Hello everyone, we're talking about the digestive glands in spleen embryology, and in this section we'll be talking about the liver and the gallbladder. This section has been divided into three subsections. In these subsections we'll talk about the various stages of liver development, that is how the liver as a small bud forms and how it finally transcends into an adult organ. We'll see how the gallbladder is formed, how the various ducts within the liver as well as the outside the extrahepatic biliary tree is formed, and finally we'll talk about the histogenesis of the liver, that is how the various components of liver are formed embryologically. So the source of development of the liver, so the hepatic bud. So there's a hepatic bud. Hepatic bud is responsible for the formation of liver parenchyma, the bile canaliculi, and the bile ductules. Then we have the vitelline and the umbilical veins. These vitelline and the umbilical veins, only the segment of the vitelline and the umbilical veins that are lying within the septum transversum. So they help in the formation of the liver sinusoids. Then we have the septum transversum in itself. Septum transversum is mesodermal in origin. It helps in the formation of the connective tissue stoma of the liver, which includes the liver capsule, and finally the peritoneal coverings of the liver, and Kupffer cells, the hemopoietic cells, and the blood vessels of the liver. So Kupffer cells are immunological cells that are present present within this liver. They're responsible for phagocytosis of any intruding or any foreign material. The hemopoietic cells are the cells that result in the formation of blood, and the septum transversum also contributes to the blood vessels of the liver. So there are three major sources of development. First of all, it's the hepatic bud, which in itself forms the liver parenchyma, the substance of the liver, the bile canaliculi, and the bile ductules. Then we have the umbilical and the vitelline veins, which lie within the septum transversum. They help in the formation of hepatic sinusoids. And finally, we have the septum transversum in itself. Septum transversum is mesodermal in origin, so it contributes the connective tissue stroma, which helps in the formation of the liver parenchyma. It also helps in the formation of the fibrous capsule that surrounds the liver. This capsule is also known as the Glisson's capsule. Then the peritoneal coverings of the liver are also formed by the septum transversum, and finally the Kupffer cells. Kupffer cells are actually the immunological cells, the hemopoietic cells which form the blood and the blood vessels of the liver. So how does the liver form? So the liver forms from an endodermal hepatic bud. So here you can see this is the region of the liver. This is a photograph, an electron micrograph or a micrograph of a developing human child. In this you can see this is the region where the liver is being formed. So liver develops from the endodermal hepatic bud. So important, endodermal. So the hepatic bud is endodermal in origin. It arises from the ventral aspect. This is the dorsal aspect, this is the ventral aspect. So it arises from the ventral aspect of the distal part of the foregut. So from the distal part of the foregut, diverticulum arises. This is from where the liver is formed. And what distal section? Actually, the distal section that is at junction with the midgut. So where the foregut and the midgut, the junction of the foregut and the midgut, which is also known as the anterior intestinal portal, it gives off a small diverticulum. This diverticulum is from where the hepatic bud and the future liver is formed. In this micrograph, this is the section where the liver is being formed. This lies on the ventral aspect of the body. This is the dorsal aspect. This is the cranial aspect where the head is being formed, and this is the caudal aspect of the embryo. So moving on, what are the successive stages of the liver development? So the hepatic bud, so in this figure, this is the foregut, this is the midgut, this is the junction between the foregut and the midgut, also known as the anterior intestinal portal. So this is the diverticulum, the liver diverticulum or the hepatic bud, which is responsible for the formation of the liver. Now this hepatic bud, this grows into the ventral mesogastrium. So this was the ventral mesogastrium. So this hepatic bud, it grows into the ventral mesogastrium and through it into the septum transversum. This is the septum transversum in green, and from after growing through this ventral mesogastrium, this hepatic bud, it grows into the septum transversum, which can be seen in the figure. So this hepatic bud now joins into a small caudal part, which is known as the pars cystica. This is the small caudal part, which is the pars cystica. This pars cystica is responsible for the formation of gallbladder and cystic duct. So this hepatic bud, it diverticulates, or it divides into two parts. A small caudal part is known as the pars cystica, which is responsible for the formation of gallbladder and the cystic duct. Then we have a large cranial part. This is the large cranial part. This is known as the pars hepatica. So what pars hepatica will form? It will the pars hepatica before forming any adult structure, it forms a right portion which forms the right lobe of the liver, and it forms a left portion which forms the left lobe of the liver. So important thing is, from the ventral aspect of the junction between foregut and the midgut, that is from the ventral aspect of the anterior intestinal portal, there is the formation of a small bud which is known as the hepatic bud, as it can be seen in the figure. This hepatic bud undergoes development into the ventral mesogastrium, and from the ventral mesogastrium it penetrates the septum transversum. Now it divides into two parts: a small caudal part which is known as the pars cystica, which is responsible for formation of gallbladder and the cystic duct, and then we have pars hepatica. Pars hepatica, before forming any adult structure, divides into a right and a left portion. The right portion forms the right lobe of liver, and the left portion forms the left lobe of the liver. So moving on, as the right and left portions, these are the right and left portions of the pars hepatica. So the pars hepatica becomes bifid, that is, it divides into two. So the right and left part of the pars hepatica, they enlarge and they extend into the septum transversum, because initially it was within the ventral mesogastrium, and from ventral mesogastrium it enters the septum transversum. Now the cells arising from them form the interlacing hepatic cords or cords of the hepatocytes. So the cells, they arise from these pars hepatica cells, and they form hepatic cords which are actually interlacing with each other. Hepatic cords are the cords which are present within the hepatocytes. So moving on, now we'll see the role of the umbilical and the vitelline veins. We talked about this before. Umbilical and the vitelline veins, they lie within the septum transversum and help in the formation of hepatic sinusoids. So vitelline and the umbilical veins are present in the septum transversum. Now the developing liver, it would absorb these vitelline and the umbilical veins. So this is the umbilical vein, this is the vitelline vein, this is the developing liver bud. So this in green is that this septum transversum. So when the liver buds are developing, the developing liver buds now encroach this area. When they encroach this area, they tend to absorb the umbilical as well as the vitelline veins which are present within the septum transversum, and they are broken down to form the liver sinusoids. So the hepatic channels have been formed, the sinusoids have been formed. Now let's see what else is there. So cells of the hepatic cords now later become radially arranged in the hepatic lobules. So there's a radial arrangement of the hepatic cord cells within the hepatic lobules. So a hexagonal lobule is formed with a center. From the center, the cells are radially arranged towards the periphery, and this is how the formation of the hepatic lobules take place. So this is what I was talking about. A hexagonal structure is formed with the central vein in its center. These are the hepatic cords which are actually interlacing with each other. They're arranged radially, that is at a 90-degree with each other. So at the junction of these hexagonal structures, we have three important structures. These are the portal vein, the bile ductule, and the hepatic artery. They form the portal triad. So let's see the histological components of the developing liver. So the bile canaliculi and ductules are formed in the liver parenchyma. Obviously, we talked about it, and they establish their connections with the extrahepatic bile ducts. So what happens? Bile ducts and bile canaliculi, they are formed within the liver parenchyma, and after being formed, they attain their connection. They maintain a connection, or they form a connection with the extrahepatic bile ducts. So extrahepatic bile ducts are formed by a different source, and intrahepatic bile ducts are formed by the liver parenchyma. So the liver occupies the major portion of the abdominal cavity. So we talked about this earlier as well. Liver, it expands exponentially and occupies almost all of the space in the abdominal cavity, as a result of which the developing intestines have no place to go, so they herniate into the umbilical cord. This is the physiological umbilical hernia. So the oxygen-rich blood, which is being supplied to the hemopoietic tissue within the liver, is responsible for this massive enlargement of liver. This is also important because without this massive enlargement of liver and normal physiological herniation, the rotation of gut would not take place. So moving on. Now we'll see how the gallbladder and the extrahepatic biliary ducts are formed. So the gallbladder and the cystic duct, they develop from pars cystica. Obviously, this was the pars cystica. The pars hepatica formed the liver parenchyma, and this pars cystica developed into gallbladder as well as the cystic duct. Cystic duct is the duct of the gallbladder. Now the part of hepatic bud which is proximal to the pars cystica forms the common bile duct. So the part of hepatic duct, this part of hepatic duct which actually lies proximal to this pars cystica, it forms the common bile duct. Okay. So initially the common bile duct, it opens on the ventral aspect of the developing duodenum. So the initial opening of the common bile duct is on the ventral aspect of the developing duodenum. However, duodenum grows and rotates, and the opening of the common bile duct goes to the dorsomedial aspect of the duodenum along with the ventral pancreatic bud. So there's a common opening of the common bile duct and the ventral pancreatic duct in both of them, and it lies to the dorsomedial aspect of the duodenum. Initially it was lying ventrally, but the duodenum underwent development and rotation, as a result of which the opening now lies on the dorsomedial aspect of the duodenum. So in this section we saw how various components of the liver as well as the duodenum as well as the gallbladder were formed. We also saw how the extra and intrahepatic biliary system was formed and how the connection between the two developed. So I hope you understood this section. For further sections, keep watching sqadia.com.